guys on Twitch, Mixcloud and YouTube. Show will be starting in about 25 seconds, guys.
Put the world right. It's Big G's Rant of the Week.
Yes, can we hear me now? Can we hear me now, guys? Yes, because I don't know what is going on in the last few days. I've had a few problems with the tech stuff. I don't know what is going on, but fingers crossed you can hear me now. Let me know if you can. Yes, can hear. Good evening to Flash, who's there. Yeah, so how's your week been, guys? What did I get up to? Not much, to be honest. Not much. I went out Sunday. I must admit, I did go out Sunday for a night out. I didn't go out any earlier than that because, oh, here goes the phone. This is so professional today, and it's so professional. Another acting job coming through, but that's something for the future, guys, yes. I felt weird not having my headphones on at the start of the show. I just thought to myself, well, I can hear the headphones. Yeah. So, guys, if you are listening here on Reach On Air, you can also watch the live stream on Twitch or Mixcloud. All you've got to do is look up Gary D1310 on either of them apps. They're absolutely free to download. And also, I am streaming live on YouTube as well. Hopefully, they have stayed with me because we didn't get the sound going until about a minute into the start of the show. But that is nothing new. As I said, the last few days have been hellish on here. Absolutely hellish. But fingers crossed it will start to get a little bit better. Yes. And we will crack on with the show. So, just a quick... yeah, Jason, you say, you don't get that on the Chris Reardon show. No, you don't. But then we got to think, who could be sabotaging this show? Who could be sabotaging the young blood that is coming through, taking over the L? I'm only joking, Chris, if you can hear it. Right, so let's get on with things. I just wanted to do, we did have the Premier League start this weekend, didn't we? The Premier League. And it's nice that Flash is there because Flash is a Man United fan. And yes, how is your backside feeling now? Is it still red raw, my friend? Is it still red raw? But then again, I'm a Liverpool. We didn't do any better. 2-2 draw with Newcastle. But at least Newcastle was in the Premiership last season. Just saying. But anyway, so good evening to Flash. Good evening to JC Hughes. Good evening to Roy. And as I said, guys, you are all more than welcome to come in and join the show. Right, so I just wanted to tidy up something that we've been doing over the last few weeks. But I'm not spending a lot of time on this, guys. I'm being honest. I am not spending a lot of time on this because I am sure yous are all, with the greatest respect, all a little bit fed up with it. But because we started the the story on it. Not just here, but it's been all over the papers for the last few weeks, and it's very, very up in the air. But what I wanted to do, because I don't want to ever come across as biased or anything like that, because I'm really not. What I like to do on this show is I sort of play the devil's advocate, if that makes sense. So I'm just playing the devil's advocate, and I will tell you stories, and it is for you to make your minds up on them. It is up to you to make your minds on them. So we are obviously talking about the Jason Arday thing, and as I said, I'm not spending a lot of time on this tonight. But what I wanted to do is just tell you a bit of new information that I found out. And it's not to do, it is to do with Jason, but it was to do with the person who actually reported him, for want of a better words, reported him and said there was a problem. So we're talking about someone called Nathan Cofnas, right? And he's been suspended. He has been suspended, but he's not sacked by Ghent University in Belgium. The university has launched a preliminary discipline. God, I get the words out of it. Disciplinary investigation following his involvement in the controversial surrounding the late Cambridge professor Jason Arday. Yes, and I'm just got, but oh, that's good. YouTube's strength is excellent. Oh, that's nice. That's always, why does it stop me mid-sentence to tell me, shut up. Yes, well, then we had that. So, yes, this guy, Nathan Cofnas, is the one who basically blew the whistle. Cofnas was one of the first people to publicly accuse Arday of plagiarism. He published his allegations on Substack. Is that some sort of university, I don't know, website of some sort? I don't know what Substack is, I'll be honest with you. Saying that parts of Arday's academic work appeared to closely resemble early work. We know all this. We've heard all this. He also questioned some claims that Arday's personal story, his personal story, world champion snooker player, professional snooker player, professional football, you know what I'm talking about. The allegations triggered a huge media investigation, after which Cambridge announced its own investigation into Arday's academic record. Arday resigned from Cambridge and died. Well, the rumour is, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, that he took his own life on the 14th of August, age 41. The allegations against Arday were never formally proven before his death. So all these allegations about Arday at the moment are still not proved. They are still not proved, guys. So, I don't know what we're going to do. So now Ghent University is investigating Cofnas himself. The university says her suspension is a precaution while it examines his conduct, including allegations of discriminations and whether his activities and public statements were compatible with the professional obligations. There has been no finding that these allegations are true. So I don't know if they mean Jason or Cofnas. So it's one or the other. There's a significant history behind Cofnas. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting, guys. It gets a little bit interesting here. There is also significant history behind Cofnas. In 2024, Emmanuel College, Cambridge, ended his position after he published controversial arguments about race, intelligence, and meritocracy. Meritocracy. I'm hoping I am saying that out. Meritocracy. In one article, he argued that under a pure meritocratic system, the numbers of black professors at Harvard would be close to zero. So you get a feeling that this guy and his opinions on other races, sad, really, sad. He described his position as race realism and argued that genetic differences could contribute to differences between racial groups. Well, I've got to be honest. I'm white and I'm thick as two short planks. I'll be honest with you. I've been doing radio shows for a year and I forgot to turn the sound on. So, so is it the same as everything? There's good and bad in everybody. There's good and bad in everything. So to say that one, just because of their colour and stuff, is worse than the other, oh God, that just sounds so backwards to me. It sounds so backwards to me. But, yeah. So Emmanuel said his views and the way he expressed them were incompatible with the college values and has caused harm within its community. Cofnas challenged the decision in court, arguing that he had been discriminated against himself because of his I can't do big words. Philosophical beliefs. The court ultimately rejected the claim, finding that the college decision was not motivated predominantly by hostility in his beliefs. So yeah, still not good beliefs though, my friend. Interesting, Cambridge University later investigated complaints about Cofnas and concluded that in 2025 that he had published views did not breach the university regulations or the law, following charges to its free speech rules. Now, I don't know about you guys, I really don't know about you guys, but my confidence in Cambridge University's sort of vetting system, or, you know, when they're investigating things, over the last few, there's not much confidence there. I'll be honest, there is not much from just me. But remember, as we say, this show is just about our personal opinions. They're not about laws. I've not been to court. I've not studied at Cambridge University. So I can't 100% tell you what's going on at Cambridge University. I can only tell you what I hear. And like all of you, we hear it, social media, newspapers, on the news, on the television, me ranting on a little bit here about this situation. So the current position is straightforward. Cofnas he's not been sacked by Ghent, the university in Belgium. He is suspended while an investigation continues. The allegations against him have not been proven, just the plagiarism allegations against Arday were not formally proven before his death. So the plagiarism accusation was there, but nothing was proven before Jason Arday done what he done. So as in ended things. And then the latest development is, and again this gets interesting. And the latest development is that more than 700 academics have reportedly signed an open letter defending, yes, Cofnas, arguing that his suspension risks punishing him for raising questions about possible academic misconduct. And good evening to Jason, son. Good to see you there, my friend. Well, the misconduct, I've just got to say, people with these beliefs that as I say, I would go by what I am, which is basically a middle-aged white man. Struggled in school. I didn't really enjoy it. Didn't go to university. Got a job. I was good with my hands. So I was able to do jobs that were straightforward. And then I had my black friends, my Asian friends, who went to university, all got great jobs. So, again, what I was going back to saying, you can't tar everyone with the same brush, guys. You just can't. But anyway, Ivan. An evening, Ivan. When did you sneak in there, Ivan? But that is, again, just my humble opinion. You could have different opinions, and you are more than welcome to them. You can message in and just tell me what you're thinking. If it is different to what I'm thinking, maybe you do feel that there is a different... It's just, I don't. I really don't. And it might be my ignorance that I'm just think it's ridiculous. Cultural thing, it could be because of my culture, my personal culture, is average British man who enjoyed the pub too much. That education just sort of went out the window. I can't say I've not enjoyed my life. I have. I've had some great nights out, and I still have great nights out. And that's what I'm about. I always looked at it. I work to live, not live to work, if that makes sense. My whole life is not around what I do for a job. So, yeah, And at the moment, there might not be one for very much longer, the way things are looking with the company I'm with. But again, I can't talk about that at the moment. We might be able to talk about that in the future. And when I get the chance, I'm bleeding well. I'll be honest with you, I'm bleeding well. But legally, I can't. So anyway, as I said, we're not going to stick with that subject for very long tonight. That is done. Or we won't. I'll try and avoid it next week unless something big happens in that story. But we are going to move on from it. Right, guys? If I've managed to do this, if I haven't buggered this all up. Where's he gone? Here he is. This was the story I wanted to talk about. That interested me this week. Now, I don't know if you see it or not. Andy Burnham. Did you see him? Did you see him go to Ukraine? Just wow. Just wow. Not the going to the Ukraine thing, that's brilliant. And I'm like everybody else. I hope, like everybody else that's sort of listening to this show, support Ukraine. And always will. They should never have been invaded like that. And then, I supported them with buying them socks, basically, for Jerry. But it was sort of like they said, what can we do? They said, no point giving them money, give them clothes, give them things like that. So that's what I did when the war first started. But anyway, let's go back to what I'm talking about. And I don't know how many of you might have seen this or didn't see it. But there is just something about that picture of Andy Burnham arriving in Ukraine that got me thinking, what the hell was happening with our politics, to be honest with you? And it's a simple, why was the Prime Minister wearing a T-shirt? On an official visit, why was our Prime Minister wearing a T-shirt and jeans? Does that seem right? Does that seem, or am I a dinosaur? Am I a dinosaur for thinking it? That, as I said, guys, you might think differently. You might think you could show up in a Hawaiian shirt, and it just doesn't matter. Handy Pandy, yeah, Jason Hughes. Basically, yeah, that's what he's made us feel like. He's Handy Pandy. So the bigger question, what do we actually want our Prime Minister to look like in troubled times? Yes, in troubled times. This is the guy that's leading this country at the moment. I don't know how quickly into bankruptcy, but he's leading this country and he's representing us as he goes over to the Ukraine. So Burnham arrived in Kiev by train on Monday, August 24th, this Monday, just gone. Ukraine's Independence Day. Ukraine's Independence Day. So they, I suppose, celebrating a little bit. In fact, I hope they did. I hope they did where they could celebrate their independence. And from Russia originally, wasn't it? It was from Russia originally. But they're trying to go backwards there. But to be fair, he wasn't greeted at the station by President Zelensky. He was greeted by Ukraine's Foreign Minister, Arday Sabia, have I said that? Yeah, one of your, I would say, one of his Temu tops he could have wore. I just don't, I'm not sure Andy Burnham knows where he is. Does he? Sorry, I'm not being political or anything. I don't think any of them are any bloody good anymore. Being totally honest with you, I don't think, this lot could lead like a, what do you call it, the can-can. I don't think any of them could. Absolutely hopeless, all of them. And it's all, and I won't say it's lies because I can't say it's lies, but it does sound crap with the things they come out with. But again, that's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. So, and Burnham was dressed very casually. That's an understatement. Sorry, guys, I do write this stuff earlier on, and I do refer to it. So sometimes it will sound like I'm just reading it, but I'm not. I'm reading it at the same time as thinking it. But I've got to sort of like, it's so there's a flow to what I'm saying. I don't want to keep flipping back to where I was. And so we have to try and just keep going a little bit. He didn't meet Zelensky in those clothes, though. He didn't. He got changed. When he sat down with the Ukrainian president, Burnham had changed into a suit and tie. So let's be fair to him. He did, when he met their leader, changed into a suit and tie. So perhaps the T-shirt wasn't about diplomacy at all. Perhaps it's about Burnham's own political image. You know, do I want a Prime Minister to be my best friend? No. I want you to bleed and lead the country. So what is this I walk round in jeans and T-shirt business? I don't want that, personally. We need a leader. A leader, guys. Not someone I'm going to go to the pub with on a Saturday night. Again, that's just my opinion. I think if you're in a position of power, look like you're in a position of power. Not T-shirts. And that T-shirt could have come from Primark. I didn't. Sorry, there are other shops out there that you can buy similar T-shirts in. But, yeah, I don't know if you guys watching on Twitch, let's see if I've got a picture. I couldn't use the original picture. But this is basically, you get the idea of what he looked like when he got off the train. You ready? Can you see that, guys? Can you see that? That is the British Prime Minister getting off the train to meet the Ukrainian officials, dressed roughly like that. So am I missing something? Am I missing? Yeah. And Roy's saying that the PM and Rayner are still green lighting the boats. Yes, the boats business, I do not know what they're going to do. Yeah, Flash is saying Mr. Blobby would make a good prime. Well, he can't be any bloody worse than what we got, mate, can they? Can't be any worse. And, I just don't know. I just really don't know what is going on with this country at the moment. I once said to a friend not so long ago, well, it was funny enough, we were sitting in the pub watching football. And it wasn't Burnham in charge, it was the other one, Starmer. And I actually said to him, this is the first time in my life I felt ashamed to be British. The first time. I never ever thought that day would come. But it did under the last boy, old Starmer. He was just making us the laughing stock. If you agree with him or don't agree with him, but across the world. And again, just my opinion. And you're hoping Burnham comes in with fresh ideas and stuff like that. You always want them to do well. But I just don't see it. You know what I'm seeing? You know what I'm seeing? And if memory serves me right, guys, I could be wrong. As I said, my memory's not as good as it was. It's a bit like when Corbyn became the opposition leader. You know, we've all seen what's happened to him since he's no longer the opposition leader. And you might agree with Corbyn's politics. That's entirely up to you. But it was like his first Prime Minister question time. He took letters in from the public to read out to the Prime Minister. Some of you might think that's good. But individual people's problems, you know, however sad they are not what you want the opposition leader challenging the Prime Minister on. You want the big questions, you know. And it was like, Corbyn was like at a school debate. And it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And Burnham's feeling a little bit the same way, I've got to say. And I say, I'm not trying to sway you to vote for any part. You vote for who the hell you want. Being honest with you, you vote for who the hell you want. You've got your things that affect you on a daily basis. And this is just the truth. It's things that affect you don't necessarily affect me. So it's a case of you've got to vote for what will work for you. And obviously I vote for what will work for me. And I'm not one of these people. And I don't understand this with people, you know. I'll be honest with you. These one-party people. You know the one that says, I will vote, for argument's sake, because we're talking about Labour, I will vote Labour till the day I die, or things like that. You know. So what, regardless of what policy they come up with, you're going to vote for them. And it's... Yeah, Jason Hughes is like the opposite to me. And that's good. That's what I want on there. I don't want you 100% agree with me, because otherwise, what is the point? What is the point of doing this? But Jason says, to be honest, I don't care what he wears as long as he sorts out this mess our country's in. Yeah, as we said, we had a little joke, Mr. Blobby. If he sorted the country out, I wouldn't care if he just as Mr. Blobby, in all honesty. But it's how you're perceived. God, that's a big word for me. How you're perceived across the world, guys. And if other countries are looking at us and, you know, and we're supposed to be the sort of, what's the word? I don't want to say posh. Because posh the wrong way. We're the sort of ones who sort of started the suit business and all that carry on. I know the Italians doing better. Don't start. I know Italians. I know all that carry on. But the suits, the top hats and tails of all the politicians, it was like, we all done that. And now we're down to jeans and T-shirt. So I always thought that people would look at us and think, yeah, these guys are what we aspire to be. Even though our politics is crap right now, but in the past, I'd say in the past. So then again, Jason, again, they all end up like snakes. So say one thing, then get in, then nothing happens. Exactly. 100%. So it's sort of like, yeah, 100%. Where every time they get in, they just change. They just change. But anyway. Well, Ivan could end up with Farage if you don't get it right. Well, yeah. Is that going to improve things? And I was like, let's stiff up a lip. But anyway, we will carry on with what we were saying. I just went off on one there, I think. Oh, God, don't let me run out of time. I had something else to talk about. Oh, right. So he didn't meet Zelensky in the jeans and T-shirt. When he met him, he was in the suit and tie. So perhaps the T-shirt wasn't about diplomacy at all. Perhaps it was about Burnham's own political image. The Manchester politician, the down-to-earth Prime Minister, the man who doesn't want to look like a traditional Westminster politician. And that's perfectly understandable. But this is the question. When you're Prime Minister, do you still have the luxury of dressing purely for yourself? So does he have the luxury of dressing how he wants to look because of what he represents? Because this wasn't a private visit, guys. This was visiting a war-torn country. You know? So is he right that he could just wear what he wants? I don't know. Yeah, because he's representing, and as I said, the world's press are watching. And when I did write this earlier, but I need prompts to carry on nattering. And when the when the photograph goes around the world, people aren't necessarily seeing Andy Burnham; they're seeing the Prime Minister of Britain. Yes, that's what I think. Now, as we're saying, we're not saying a T-shirt makes a weak leader. No, we're not. Of course we're not. You know, some people, I think Elon Musk and people like that run around in T-shirts. But does Donald Trump run around in T-shirts? Does Putin run around in T-shirts? Yeah. And as Jason's son, it was just like meeting at the pub for a beer. Yeah, that's what he looked like. He was going to the pub for a beer. 100%. Which is not what a British Prime Minister, in my opinion, should be happening. So, so I've already gone ahead of myself. It's also about how we present ourselves to when people are looking for leadership. And look at Vladimir Putin, yes. Vladimir Putin. His public image is carefully constructed around authority, formality and power. So when Putin sees the British Prime Minister arriving in Kiev in a T-shirt, what does he see? Does he see confidence? A leader that doesn't need a traditional symbol of power? Or does Britain looking less formal, a little less imposing? Are people going to fear us anymore? I'm not sure they do anyway, considering the state of our armed forces at the minute. They're not really getting the support they should be getting. And so I don't think, anyway, the Russians have been reported to be floating around in our waters in their little submarines. And yeah, needed to get escorted out. So here we go, guys. You tell me the answer to this. Do we want a down-to-earth Prime Minister, or do we want a leader? What do we want? What do we want? Do we want someone who looks like us, talks like us, and dresses like us? Especially me with my Primark t-shirts. And Timu and all cheap shops out there. God, they got to start sponsoring me, I think, if I keep saying their names like that. Or when times are difficult, do we sometimes somebody who looks like a person we can follow? Someone who walks into a room and gives you the feeling, I've got this, follow me. Yeah, Jason's son wants a cat. I'm not running for Prime Minister, mate. I'm not running for Prime. I couldn't be dealing with that. I just couldn't be dealing with that. But Jason's son wants a Prime Minister who does karaoke. Flash does karaoke. Roy does karaoke. They could do it, couldn't they? Yeah, so I think we just need a Prime Minister that oozes out confidence, power, things like that. You want to be able to look up to them, not stand beside them by the bar in the pub. Yeah, as I said, there is a difference between being approachable and being authoritative. And perhaps that's what makes this photograph interesting. Burnham can be Burnham. He can be informal, but not when he's on official visits. I'm sorry, I don't think you should. When you're on an official visit, look the part, man. Look the part. But as I said, really don't embarrass us, mate. Don't embarrass us. And as I said, I sometimes, as I said, loads of times, I just wonder if I'm an old dinosaur. Because even in my job, our management sort of went from suited and booted to t-shirts and jeans. And you just watched the respect for them, believe it or not. And as I say, I don't know what jobs all you guys do, but the respect for them just drain away. For me, from the day they started doing that, the respect for management just seemed to drain away. And now it's like the feelings towards that is not good. It's not good. But anyway. So as I said, when you saw the photograph or that image that I showed you, what did you see? A confident modern British? Or did you think, why does the Prime Minister look like he's on his way to a local pub on a Saturday night? Like I did. Perhaps troubled times we really want it. But a Prime Minister who understands ordinary people, yes, you can do that. But you also have to be above that as well. Because you can't be considering yourself an ordinary person and being the Prime Minister of Britain. You have to do with tough decisions. Now, if you're an ordinary person, or you want people to see you that way, what happens when it comes to our defence? What happens if something happens and we need to turn to someone and say, what do we do here? You know, that's the people we're looking at. You will need to be able to trust them as a leader, yes. So, that was me on Burnham. And as I said, with your ideas, as I say, we go back. And as I say, I suppose when you see strong leaders, you going back in our history, we have had some. We've had some bad ones, we've had some good ones. Now, you looked at Winston Churchill during World War II. Now, he did costume change, he did. But when we was at war, from what I know, obviously, I'm not old enough, I wasn't around during the war, but during the war, he would wear military uniforms, like Zelensky does. But when he needed to do official business, he would put a suit on. You know? So you knew where you stood with him. You knew where you stood for him. That was our leader. And he was supporting the troops by putting the uniform on. You know, none of us expected Winston Churchill at the age he was at the time, mid-60s, 70s, to go and fight on the front line. Yeah, Flash is called Uncle Albert. During the war. But, yeah, I don't know. I sometimes really think I've got old before my time. I really do. And as I said, respect is sometimes can be automatic respect, just by the persona of a person, the way they look. You know, if they disrespect you, or if they disrespected me, to be honest, I couldn't give a monkeys what they're wearing. They will get it double barrels. Not literally double barrels. I'm not talking, oh, this is you put me down Only Fools and Horses Road, where he does the clay pigeon shooting with the short, sawn-off shotgun. We're talking about Del Boy off Only Fools and Horses, because I just got called Uncle Albert. But, yeah, I don't know. So, I've scrolled through that. We've done that. But as I said, your opinions. And guys, as I said, with this show as well, if you have any topic you want to talk about, the Jason Arday, we're done with that. I'm going to tell you now, we're done with that. Unless something major happens with that, I think it's best for me personally, and I'm probably thinking most of the listeners, they've probably had enough of it. They've had enough of it. There's so much confusion surrounding it. It's just surrounding the Jason Arday thing. It's just, we don't know really what's going on. So unless some facts start to come out, rather than all this, I don't know, hearsay for want of a better word, hearsay that's going around, till some proof and evidence starts to come out, we're going to drop that. Hopefully, my little chat with Andy here, hopefully Andy can hear me. Andy, sort yourself out, mate. Put some decent clobber on when you go on official business. If you're walking in the park with your missus and the dog, put your t-shirt and jeans on. That is fair. But not when you are representing this country. Okay? So when you're on official business for this country, look the part of a Prime Minister. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. So, Andy, get the message, mate, or I will be knocking on your door. So, again, that's another subject done for today. That's another subject. So, right, this one, I've been quite looking forward to this. I don't know if this is going to give some of you nightmares. It might give some of you nightmares, this one. I'm going to play you a sound effect and see if any of you can work out what it is. Let me just get it up. I'll just get it up. Where's he gone? Yeah. Right, I've got to just put the headphones on for the sound effect. See if any of you recognise what it is. Any ideas, guys? Any ideas? Spooky, innit? Very, very spooky sound. Well, I'm going to tell you where this is supposedly come from. I do quite a lot of stuff on the computer myself. Like, I make my own jingles and stuff for a radio show, my own radio show. And, these little films I've started to make. So I know how to sort of manipulate sound a little bit to get it how you want it. Am I good at it? No, I don't know, but I try. But I'm going to tell you the little story from where this is supposedly from. All right? So one of the world's most famous rivers is disappearing. I don't know, have you heard this story? Anyone heard this story yet? One of the most famous rivers in the world is disappearing. An ancient text contains a story about a mysterious being imprisoned in connection with it. Anyone there yet? Anyone yet? Oh, this is a spooky one, guys. The river is the Euphrates, and its water levels fall. Something else has captured people's attention. Stories of strange noises, which I just played you. Is that true? Because if it was true, let's be honest, there'd be a lot of people trying to debunk it anyway. because they wouldn't want you to know. So, but I think I could probably do that on, I don't know, one of them mixing things. But yeah, hidden caves and ancient structures are being exposed along the river. Yes, but before we get into the theories here, let's look at what the ancient texts actually say. So this is the ancient text on the Euphrates River. This has been going on for a little while now. So it's not a news story, but it's just something that caught my attention. I thought, I'll have a look at this. Right, so in Genesis, dinosaurs? Jason said, no, not dinosaurs, mate. In Genesis, there is a mysterious reference to the sons of God taking human women as wives. Their children are associated with Nephilim. Whichever that is. Mysterious figures often described as giants. Why don't you just say giants? Oh, just say giants. So Nephilims, they're known as giants. In jokes, sorry guys. See, when I'm on the radio, I can see all these messages that are coming through. And they do like jokes. So where I know the people, and there's one of the DJs here is in love with one of the listeners. Let's put it that way. And they reckon it sounded more like that than it does what I'm talking about. But anyway, right. So in Genesis, there's a mysterious reference to the sons of God taking human women as wives. Their children are associated with Nephilim, mysterious figures often described as giants. So with Nephilim, no more Nephilim, giants. Centuries later, the Jewish text known as 1 Enoch, if I'm saying that right, if any Jewish listeners are out there and I'm saying that wrong, apologies, expands the story. It describes angels called the Watchers descending to earth. They become fascinated with human women, so women again, taking them as wives and having children with them. According to the story, they also teach humanity forbidden knowledge, including weapons, sorcery, and other practices. They don't sound very good angels, do they? They do not sound like very good angels to me. Their actions supposedly contributed to the violence and corruption spreading across the earth. So we are going back centuries and centuries ago. And in them days, we blamed fallen angels. And these days, we just blame anyone we can, really. Apart from ourselves at times. So, yeah. The Watchers are then punished and bound and imprisoned, awaiting judgment. And this is where the Euphrates enters the story, yes. So you got these troubled angels that was mixing with human women. But they got themselves in trouble. They got themselves in trouble and got bound and imprisoned, awaiting judgment. And this is where the Euphrates enters the story. Yes, here we are. The book of Revelation describes 4 angels bound at the great Euphrates River. A particular moment in an apocalyptic vision, those angels are released. So this is talking about, when they say apocalypse, is basically saying the end of the world, aren't they, guys? They are saying the end of the world. Ooh. This has led to modern theories that the Euphrates continues to dry. Something ancient could eventually be exposed. Even that imprisoned angels could somehow be released. So, are we believing in this? Yeah, Roy says like a Doctor Who series. I think they might have based a few of the Doctor Who series on this as well. But it's fascinating, mate. It's fascinating. Because if you're the follower of the religions and these stories, you might be a little bit worried right now. So the book of Revelation describes 4 angels bound at the great Euphrates River. A particular moment in the apocalyptic vision, those angels are released. Yeah, so we've done that. So when the world's coming to the end, they're going to be released and they're going to cause absolute chaos, guys. Absolute chaos. This has led to a modern theory that Euphrates continues to dry. Something ancient could eventually be exposed. Even that imprisoned angels could somehow be released. But there is an important catch. There is a very important catch. The Bible never says these 4 angels are the Watchers from 1 Enoch. No, the Bible never said it was. So the Bible is telling a different story to what 1 Enoch is saying, the Jewish version. And it doesn't say they are physically trapped beneath the river. Then there are the stories of the strange noises. Now I've played you them strange noises. And as I said, are they true? No. I can't say that they are true. But then again, I wasn't there. And maybe I'm so sceptical that anything like that, I probably would go, nah. And good evening to Tracy, who's just joined us in the Twitch chat room as well. Tracy, we're just talking about bound angels at the bottom of the Euphrates River. You'd be going, what? What is he going on about now? Yes, we are talking about apocalyptic times that could be heading our way. Everyone's going, Big G, I think he's lost his marbles. Yes, but there could be a few more of these coming. Then there are stories about the strange noises. Videos circling online claim to show deep rumbling, moaning or crying like sounds coming from the areas where the Euphrates has receded. Some people claim the sounds are coming from underground caves and connect them to ancient stories of imprisoned beings. So Tracy, you might have missed the sound. Did you miss the sound? Let's just play it again then, guys. Let's just play it again. Yes, Tracy's just gone, what the hell is that? That is what is supposedly noises coming from the bottom of the Euphrates River with these fallen angels that are locked away down there. But once the water recedes completely from this river that is from biblical times, Jewish times, stories going through times. Yes, carry on the bog. It's not me on the bog. Yes, James Hughes. Sounds like his missus having a moan up. Do you see what I mean about this sound effect, though? I'm like, nah. But anyway, I will carry on with the story. So there's just one problem. There is no verified evidence that these sounds are supernatural or even they are coming from fallen angels. Of course, there's no verification. You'd have to see them, wouldn't you? You'd have to see them to say that's where the noises come from. Where is this river? Is it Iraq? I'll get to that. I think it's Iraq. It's the Middle East again. Everything from religious is from the Middle East. Just always remember that. So it's nowhere near us. So we're all right. So if it does happen, we won't be the first to go. We'll probably be one of the last. So don't worry, Trace. You can sleep all right tonight. Yes, she's going to Google it now. Right, so but the caves themselves aren't necessarily fictional. So the caves are actually there, guys. The caves are actually there. The Euphrates Valley contains ancient rock-cut settlements, caves and tunnels, some of which have been exposed or becoming more accessible as the water levels fall. So yes, as the water levels have fallen in this river, it is opening up these caves. And they're now becoming visible. And now there's people claiming these noises are coming from these caves. So all these tales going back, how would they have known all them years ago that there would be these caves there? No. But they did. They somehow did. So it's all becoming, these caves and tunnels are becoming more and more visible. And this is where it becomes fascinating. Yes, we're always saying, old wives' tale. Yeah, but there is a lot of things they've said thousands of years ago, right, that are actually happening. So, yeah. So I don't know. Do you? I'm not asking you if you're religious or anything like that, because if that's your own personal business, and I have my views on it, and it's I do feel that religion has a lot to answer for, but that's just my opinion. And Flash is saying it's more like Jurassic Park. I can't disagree, mate. I can't disagree. But as the story becomes more generally fascinating, the shrinking river is real. Ancient caves and archaeologists remains are real. So they are finding things there. Strange recordings exist, but we've just listened to the recordings. Or one of them. So is that... Oh. Is that a leap? Is that a leap? Would most rivers, I don't know, I'm not one of them rock people, whatever you call them, but most rivers would have little caves underneath, surely. So that would just be, oh yeah, that river's got a cave under it, yeah. Oh, well, maybe, I don't know. So they're actually fine, these strange recordings, as I say, I've got to be dismissive of them recordings, I'm going to be honest. So, but the leap from those facts to the fallen angels are trapped beneath the Euphrates is a modern interpretation, not something established by archaeology, by the ancient texts themselves. So what is really down there? Ancient ruins, hidden chambers, forgotten history? Or is the legend simply talking about a real environmental disaster and connecting it to some of humanity's oldest stories? I don't want you having nightmares, but I think that's probably closer to the truth. So we're just going to say, oh, well, the things we've done really wrong on this planet and causing all these problems, they said that in the Bible. So it's not our fault. It's it's in the Bible, or it's in the Quran, or it's in wherever. It's in wherever. So you're like, okay. Yes. So we don't have evidence of angels waiting beneath Euphrates. Of course we don't have evidence. It's like ghosts, isn't it? It's like talking about ghosts. We believe in ghosts. Well, a lot of people do believe in ghosts. But how many people have actually seen one? Very few. And when they say they have seen one, people call them a liar. So, is this the same? Someone's gone to this cave, got this recording, gone, look at this recording. Look what I've heard. And they go, oh, go away, mate. Go away, mate. You know. So, that could be a case. But perhaps straight ancient right. Ancient writers chose this particular river when describing the end of the world. And today, the same river is slowly disappearing, guys. Yes, it is slowly disappearing. I've lost half my text for that, to be honest. There was more than that. Hold on. Cough break. So, in religious texts and stuff like that, this river is mentioned from what they say. The story's not really mentioned as in the way it's said there. The Bible, I think if I've read that right, doesn't confirm about the trapped angels at the bottom of the Euphrates, but the Jewish text, 1 Enoch, is saying about these giants and all this carry on, the giants. Now, could you know, there seems to be this evidence coming up about giants in history as well now. See, when you start looking into this thing, the things they come up with and you go, oh, don't talk crap. But they're starting to find little bits of evidence and stuff like that. So just that maybe they do exist. Maybe they did, or they did exist. Or could it be as simple as, say, for instance, the average height of an Asian man, and I'm not talking about their basketball players and stuff like that, an Asian ladies, not average, probably below average, are much shorter than the Western man, as in the Scandinavian people, the British people, things like that. Could it be as simple as a few have gone over from Northern Europe, gone over there, and they're considered giants? And if we put it in today's terms, they've gone on a Beano over to the Middle East, And when they've shown up, the people that lived there were considerably shorter in stature than what the Northern Europe people were, and then they considered them giants. But on this Beano, they've turned around and they've gone with the women and stuff like that from over there, because there's nothing wrong with the women over there or anywhere. But maybe that's what they did. Maybe that's what that did. And then that's ended up in the book with these giants showed up. Or am I just talking complete nonsense? It's possible I am just talking absolute complete nonsense, but is it? Yeah, am I the new David Icke? No, I'm not the new David Icke. I just see this story and it fascinated me. But it was, most of these I think are a bit, like this one I don't believe. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe it. I've done the story. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. Biblical scriptures and stuff like that I find difficult to believe. It's like they're saying they found Noah's Ark now as well. They've done an aerial shot of a mountain that looks like it could have been a massive boat. Noah's Ark. But there has been suggestions how true there is that they've found splinters of wood on the top of this mountain. So it could have been a boat. But I don't know. As I say, I don't dismiss religion, anything like that. As I say, everyone believe what you want to believe, and you're always welcome to it. And I will never, ever judge anyone, whatever religion you are. As if my closest friend is a Muslim, I'm supposedly a Protestant. Then you've got, Reardon's a problem, who's a Catholic. And then you've got your atheists. My partner's from Asia, and they don't have a religion. But it's never, ever a problem to me what anyone thinks. Whatever makes you feel better, you do. You do you. But when I find these sort of stories and I go, this is what's happening, and I played you that clip of sound, and then I'm going, really? And as I said about this, it could be as simple as people from another country has shown up, and they just look much bigger than the indigenous population that is there, and they're considered to be giants. And they write that down over there. Yeah, these giants showed up. And because maybe they're of a different colour, again, maybe because they're of a different colour, they might have thought them to be angels. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, again, thank you so much for putting up with me for another hour here on the screaming and the radio and all that carry on. I'll try and find some more stories on it. I found that fascinating. I did find that fascinating. But maybe it could be true. It could be true. But I am back tomorrow morning here on Reach an Air from 8 till 10, covering Chris on The Breakfast Show. And honestly, I will play music tomorrow. So anyway, guys, as I say, thank you so much for joining me. Take care, and hopefully I will see you all next Tuesday. Bye then.